I used to work night shift at a 24-hour supermarket. It wasn't glamorous, mostly restocking shelves and cleaning up after customers, but it was quiet, peaceful even, except for the freezer. We had one of those giant walk-in freezers in the back, cold as death, heavy metal door, lined with rows of boxed meats and frozen goods. It always gave me the creeps, and I'm not the only one who felt it. People said you could hear things in there when you were alone, like whispering or footsteps on the concrete floor. At first, I thought it was just the hum of the cooling system or my mind playing tricks. But then, one night, I got locked in. It was around 2 a.m. I went in to restock some meat crates. The door doesn't lock automatically. There's a latch you lift from the inside. But when I reached to go out, the handle wouldn't move. It was stuck, like someone was holding it shut from the outside. I banged. I yelled. No answer. My breath started fogging up in front of me, and my fingers were already numb. I pulled out my phone. No signal. Of course, I started pacing, trying to stay warm, trying not to panic. Then I heard it. Someone breathing. Not me. This was slow, raspy, almost wet breathing coming from the far end of the freezer. I froze. I turned toward the sound and saw footprints in the frost on the floor, bare footprints. They trailed out from behind a stack of boxes and stopped about 5 feet from me. I didn't hear them come in. I didn't see anyone, but the air felt heavy, like I wasn't alone anymore. Then the whispering started. It came from all around me, like it was in the walls. I couldn't make out words, just a hoarse murmur, like something trying to speak through frozen lungs. And then the door opened. No one was there. The hallway was empty. I ran. I told the manager the next day. He didn't laugh. He just said, "It's not the first time. We had a guy die in there back in the 80s. Cleaning shift, got trapped, froze before anyone found him." That's only, apparently, they've tried replacing the handle 12 times. Cameras inside always go static right before something happens. People quit over it. I didn't quit, but I never went back in that freezer alone again. Now, years later, I still avoid walk-ins. Even when I grab a frozen pizza from the store, I feel that same cold air and remember that breathing. And sometimes, if I stand too close to the freezer aisle doors, they fog up like someone's standing on the other side, waiting. When I was 17, I snuck into the old Bramble Creek train tunnel with 2 friends. It had been sealed off since the 60s after some collapse, but someone had cut a hole in the chain link. Everyone said it was haunted, of course. They always say that. We didn't believe it. At first, it was just dark, really dark, like your flashlight only lights up 10 feet and then nothing. The walls were damp and everything echoed. We were halfway through when we started hearing it, a low humming sound, faint, like a choir buried deep underground. We stopped, laughed nervously, said it was just wind or pipes, but there was no wind in there, and no power. It wasn't natural. The deeper we went, the louder it got. It started to sound like it was all around us. Then we saw the first handprint, black, wet-looking, smeared on the tunnel wall, but the wall was dry. A second one appeared, higher up, then more, forming a trail, like someone had climbed out of the ground and dragged themselves along. One of my friends ran. We never saw him again. The other Fro started muttering nonsense. He stared into the dark like he saw someone. I pulled him, screaming, and we barely made it out. I swear I heard footsteps following us, but nothing was there. Now I hear that same humming when I close my eyes, low and constant, and sometimes I see fresh handprints on the walls of places I've never been. Something followed us out. Something still hums beneath the world, waiting. Wind howled, rain lashed. John shivered, clutching his coat tighter. The old bus stop offered little comfort. A single flickering bulb cast long dancing shadows. John checked his watch. 11:58 p.m. No signal. He cursed under his breath. He was late. Meeting Sarah had been a disaster. Now, stranded on the edge of nowhere, he strained to see through the downpour. Each rustle of leaves, every gust of wind, sent shivers down his spine. There was a presence here. He could feel it. A low hum vibrated through the air. Impossible. No bus ran this route after 9 p.m. Yet through the driving rain, two pinpricks of light emerged from the darkness. The humming grew louder, resolving into a strained, mechanical groan. It was a bus, old, rusted, its paint a peeling spectral green. It screeched to a halt before him, the air brakes sighing like a death rattle. The door hissed open, revealing an interior bathed in a sickly green light. It was empty, no driver, just an unsettling silence. An unseen force urged him forward. He had to get out of the bus. He took a hesitant step toward the open door, the metallic tang of ozone stinging his nostrils. And then he heard it, a whisper, barely audible above the storm, seeming to come from within the bus itself. "Don't let it see you." The voice was cold, laced with a terror that froze John to his core. He hesitated, one foot on the step, his hand hovering over the handrail. What was on that bus? Who had spoken? Section 4. Terror above. He dared a glance inside. Empty seats stretched back into the gloom, lit by that eerie green glow. And then he saw it. On the ceiling, directly above where a passenger would sit, was someone standing. It defied description. A mass of writhing tentacles, pulsating flesh, and malevolent eyes. It was awake, aware, and it was looking directly at him. The eyes blinked, a grotesque parody of human movement. John understood. This was the it the voice had warned him about. Section 5. A haunting memory. Panic surged through him. He stumbled back away from the open door, the creature's eyes burning into him. The bus hissed, its doors closing with a finality that echoed the doom John felt in his gut. Then, with a groan and a puff of exhaust, it was gone, vanished, back into the storm as quickly as it had arrived. John stood there soaked, trembling, the echo of the whisper still ringing in his ears. He knew he had just escaped something truly horrifying. He'd never wait for bus at night again, not after what he saw hiding in the dark between the stops. The memory of those eyes, that voice, would forever haunt his nights.